We are Squawking Dead, a podcast pulverizing episodes beyond the Walking Dead universe. We're here live with you. Speaking of we, I'm your host, David Cameo, and I'm joined by Nope. Sharon D, aka Blazing Gardner. It just helps to include her in that because it gets the flow. Sharon D, aka Blazing Gardner, and Bridget, ko-fi.com/Punky Brewster. That's PUNKYBRUISETER. And we're here to talk about The Last of Us's fourth episode, titled Please Hold On to My Hand. And we're here to do our reaction to this episode. No notes, going off the cuff. The cuff, indeed. Hi, everyone, says Blazy Gardner, who's here with us now.
Well, Lois doesn't like that you're already late, Dave, so
That's just rude.
forgive us, Lois. I'm sorry. Forgive us.
Just we work so hard to get here on time. Okay.
Hi, Mitchell. Glad you popped in to say hi.
Hey, Mitchell. Yes, I'm happy every time you even check in, telling us that you haven't seen the episode, but still want to say hi. It's really, really special, and I appreciate it every single time. And Lois Martin, hi. Forgive us. And Takira, hey. Hey, no, I had to pee. And then we were talking about Yellowstone for a hot second, and they were. And I haven't seen it yet. I haven't seen any of it yet. But hi, everybody. Okay, so this was a shorter.
I was wondering about that. Thank you, Mitchell.
Well, say what he said.
Okay, so Mitchell said also the next episode will be this Friday, February 10th, because of the Super Bowl on Sunday. I saw that when I started the episode, there was like a thing that came across that said that, and I was like, that's weird.
Why do they want to ruin our lives? What?
Duh, that's hard on us, though. So,
well, we'll
thanks,
go.
HBO.
Yeah, we'll go live that day too, so no worries.
It's.
I think
weren't they in Kansas City in this episode?
Yep, that's right.
Okay, well, Kansas City's playing in the Super Bowl Sunday, so that's pretty cool.
It should air on Sunday anyway. Hey, everybody.
Kansas City and Philadelphia, I think.
Oh, yeah, the Eagles, right? They made the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
They
Eagles
don't want their numbers
Chiefs
to go down. You know what I mean? They want their numbers to keep going up each episode.
By the way, I can hear Philly from here. They're still partying about being the Super Bowl. Anyway.
Sure.
But thank you, Mitchell. That was really, really cool of you to remind us that we have to, our lives are hell. So I guess we'll see. Thank you to hear. Oh, 2 days early. Nice. Yeah. Oh, don't be late. Okay. I won't be. Lois. All right. I won't be late. Slave driver over here.
Relentless.
You know? Anyways. All right. We watched a pretty shorter episode. Oh, Takira with her little
new Ko-fi subscription from Connie.
Oh, now she's in the whispers here probably, but I have no idea. But she joined a subscription. Hey, Takira, thank you for joining.
Yay,
if you are, get on in here, girl.
Because there's a link to join us in the Discord. It's because your whispers here, man. Takira's like, I can't wait for him to read my comment. I'm gonna show up on stream and ruin everything. Just kidding. You make everything better, Takira. Thank you. Thank you for always being here. Okay, so this episode's actually slightly shorter than most of the episodes. Actually, a little shorter than Infected, but it is definitely one of the shorter ones. Last week's episode was 80 minutes, an hour and 20 minutes, and we budgeted our live stream accordingly, not like some people we know. And I actually appreciated this episode, I think, a little bit more because there was a lot more emotion, obviously, than the last one. You know, like we didn't really go anywhere in the last one, technically speaking. We kind of went back in time.
I thought you said a lot more emotion. I was like, excuse me?
Oh, yeah, there was e-emotion.
A lot of emotion last week.
E-emotion, the next product by Samsung. But yeah, I mean, this episode had some emotion in it too, but I think it had a lot more movement into the overall plot. I mean, they actually make it to Kansas City from where they were in Massachusetts. That was pretty cool. You'll skip all the bad parts. What did you guys think of this episode? Let's start with Sharon, because it's been a while since things have worked out so that you could be here with us in the reaction video.
I liked it. Maybe not as much as last week's, because last week's I really loved, but it was really good. I love the humor. Like, I love how much humor they put into this show. The dynamic between Ellie and Joel is just hilarious. At the end, when they were just laughing together. I was almost tearing up at that. Like, it was so sweet. Um, I thought it was good. We didn't see an infected, but like Joel keeps reminding us, the infected aren't really the danger in this world as much as the people are.
Right. That was a
And
good reminder.
as we see, the people are the danger because they come into the town and they get attacked immediately.
But I thought Walter White was the danger.
Maybe if they were in Albuquerque.
I was just gonna say you're in the wrong area.
Is that one of those jokes out of Ellie's book?
Yes. Yes. Actually, it was out of your book, Sharon D. I took a page from your. I no, joking aside, when they were at the gas station, I think it was right in the opener, the opening sequence. Yeah, opening sequence. It kind of did remind me of the gas station in Better Call Saul. I was just kind of like, where is my brain right now? Why is Saul going to make a phone call to Kim after all these years? Anyway, did you get that, Sharon D? I don't know. Okay, that's just sad for me then. Okay. How are you feeling, Bridget? You had a little bug this weekend, huh?
Yeah. I'm tired. I don't feel super great. I already called out of work tomorrow.
Oh, wow.
You're
Well,
lucky I'm here.
Look at this.
right now.
Aren't you, everybody, round of applause for Bridget for toughing it out and being here with us today.
This is commitment.
Yeah, it's totally commitment. Now, don't go to the bathroom during the stream. This is the live stream. It's not a pre-record. Kidding. Just you could do whatever you want. Because, as diarrhea.
If I have to, it's coming either way, Dave.
Right.
I mean, it runs in your genes, so.
Right. So avoid it at all costs.
Okay, so
Thank you, Sharon D. Thank you for the tea.
couple things, right, from the video game aspect.
Okay. Well,
so-
how far did you get? Let's start with that.
Okay, not very far. I'm not gonna lie to you. So, with me being sick, normally a player of the weekend, and I just wasn't feeling it because I was in bed a lot of the time. So I spent some time today working on it, and the music and what was happening in the game was stressing me out so bad that I was picking at my fingers. That's what I do when I'm like really anxious.
I was doing the same thing throughout Watch.
So I was picking at my fingers really bad, and it was the music in the game. It was really bothering me, and I didn't get very far. And then I kind of was like, well, I don't know what to do. Like I want to have some perspective for the episode, and this is kind of like I'm like responsible for this. Let me just watch part of a walkthrough, which I hate. I don't watch walkthroughs. I'm not a walkthrough person. I did it recently, and my husband like picked on me so hard because I was giving shit about walkthroughs because I would rather just play a game. I don't want to he's wrecked if I spend all this time reading how someone else got through it. So
Oh, well, you read it rather than watched it, though. So that's
no, I ended up watching it. I was like, well, I'll just
Oh.
watch it. I know this
Okay.
is it's twice as bad.
Thanks.
So
yeah,
honestly,
so I was feeling.
I watched it, and it wasn't much further than I had made it. And I watched it for longer than I was playing it. So the person was just getting every single collectible and stuff. So it was taking a really
so
long time.
Boring.
I know. So
And that's me. By the way, that's
Anyway.
me when I play a game. Is just I'm a
So-
completionist. It's terrible.
I watched it for I watched that for less than an hour. I'd played for probably about 45 minutes to an hour. And it got to a point that I was just like, well, this is the time I would have played, the amount I would have played. And
Roughly 2 hours.
there's not really any story that's happened. It's just sneaking, which ugh.
Especially if you're
don't want-
watching it.
I don't play Assassin's Creed. I'm not into that. That's for my husband. He likes that. I don't like the sneaking around.
Or
anymore.
Thief.
I just want to
Kidding.
go in fighting, guns blazing, but I kept getting killed that way. So I had to sneak. And that's why I was getting so anxious and frustrated. So I just stopped. But as it turns out, this episode isn't even in the game. None of this is in the game. This isn't real. So it doesn't matter.
Nothing
It didn't
matters.
matter at all. So the group is supposed to be. I looked it up because I was like, "Who is Kathleen?" So I looked it up really quickly. They made up this character for the show, which is fine.
Which makes you wonder, like, oh, should I have looked this up before I did watch all this nonsense garbage?
I know, right before I wasted all my time because I still have to play it. So I like, what was I doing? But as it turns out, um, the group that I had encountered in the game is called the Hunters, and they're in Pittsburgh, I think.
Okay.
Where they're supposed to be. But anyway, this group is supposed to be like the same group, kind of. But they wanted to give more depth of emotion and more gray area of like, no one's a good guy or a bad guy. Like, they're all just doing what they can to survive, or, or whatever they think is right. It's like that old chestnut.
That we're familiar with in The Walking Dead.
You're right. So as it turns out, yeah, they just what was I doing? It's fine. It's fine.
The Hunters, Pittsburgh. So
It's fine.
apparently, are you trying to say that people from Pittsburgh lack that nuance?
I didn't say that. Clearly the showrunners said that. So suck on that, Pittsburgh.
I like how you didn't
will
even
say-
bother pinning it on me. It's like, no, it's the
No.
showrunners. That's my
showrunners,
takeaway of the
obviously.
showrunners. Okay.
I will
You're
say
kind.
the jokes, those are in the game.
Yeah. And you know what? A couple weeks ago, I think after the first episode, I had seen like one of those supercuts from the game of all the punny jokes. And well, not all, but nice, just a rivulet of just a torrent of punny jokes from Ellie.
It's bad.
Yeah.
They're just bad. They're
Joel,
so bad.
Joel was not about it in the game,
No,
but
Joel is just always like,
yeah,
Yeah.
just stop it. Stop. In the show, though, today, we did get a little of that fast forward to like when Joel's like, okay, all right, that's pretty funny.
It's pretty
I
heartwarming.
felt like that was the first time Joel had laughed in 20 years.
It was the worst joke. It was so gross.
Yeah, but those are always the best.
Yeah. Yeah.
You
I
know?
mean, it's the first thing he said. It's so stupid. And they just
It's
go,
mean-
so dumb.
I
It's
mean,
so
when I was working in the restaurant, one of my favorite things to do when I would go up to my customers would be just tell them a stupid joke, because if you can get your customer to laugh with you, then you've got them. You know what I mean? And so you go up and you're like, hey, I got a little joke for you, and they're like, oh yeah, that's funny. Even though it's stupid, they're like, well, that's the funniest joke. But then they like you. You know what I mean?
or at least
You've
they
already-
kind of
you've
drop their
already-
guard a little bit.
Right. You've made a connection with them, and then stupid jokes will do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Lois seems to think that's true too. She says the jokes are great. Takira says yes. Them laughing at the end was really a nice moment, and I knew they would ruin it. Yeah, well, yeah, obviously, lol. Takira says yes. We are essentially more important anyway. Responding to you, Bridget, for being here. And she says, "Oh my god, I've not watched any of the
Clearly.
playthrough this week. I seriously need to catch up without passing where we are on the show." Well, apparently, Bridget saves you some time. A little bit, I guess, maybe. So, thankfully. That's what Bridget does. She's here to serve and put pressure on herself to be a perfectionist and get all the...
Unnecessarily.
Right.
Yeah, it's like, that's my MO, right? So,
Yep. Well, you're still on brand.
get a little peek into my psyche, everyone.
Well, we all have our thing. Apparently, last week, as I was re-listening to the show for the blog this morning, I realized how much of a conspiracy theory I am threatening myself to be. So, apparently, Fedra was there from the jump. It's a pandemic. Oh my god.
You're worse than I am, Dave.
I mean, I have a
And that's
very
saying something.
I have a
I'm a real
vast
Bill.
imagination, man. I don't let myself say the things out loud usually. But Bill had a way of bringing it out of me. Not Bridget, but Bill. Although I hear they're the same person.
Basically.
I know that the magazine in the back was straight out of the video game.
Yes,
Exactly.
Yeah.
that is something I wanted to comment about.
There were a handful of direct scenes in this episode, which was smart because they're changing the story. So it's smart that they're including these little pieces for people.
To stop
because, like,
complaining.
Yeah, because like Ellie doesn't have a gun at this point in the game.
Mm.
So like none of that would have happened. yeah, so there's it's just like the jokes were there, the magazine was there, the comic book. Um, that is a thing that we see
What
throughout.
what
Oh,
comic
she
book? I
didn't
must have.
introduce the comic book. That's right. I'm sorry. So the scene in the car or in the back of the truck where she's like grabbing all that stuff. One, she stole that stuff from Bill, which is really funny
Yeah, well,
because
he's not
Bill's
doing anything
still
with it.
alive when they leave him, and he
Oh, okay.
specifically told her not to touch his
In
stuff.
the video game, that's what. Okay, I wasn't clear on
And
where
she
you
stole
were
all that stuff. It was so funny. Um, and then that she was messing with Joel about that. Why are these pages stuck together?
in the video game. That happens
So
too.
inappropriate. Yes, it's
Nice.
the exact same line. But actually, the reason that she starts talking to Joel isn't like, "Oh, hey, check out what I got." It was she's like, "Oh man," and he's like, "I thought you were sleeping," and she's like, "I got to the end of this comic book." I'm sorry because I got onto like this tangent earlier today where I was like, like you found a comic book and then you check at the back of it and it's a Dark Horse comic and I was like, is this a real comic? And then I had
Okay,
to look it up
It's
and
a tie-in to Fear. It's a
and
tie-in to
it's
Fear the
not.
Walking Dead.
It's not real. It was made up for this. It's called Savage Starlight.
oh, so
And it's
close to and the Dark Horse title,
it's
but yeah.
a it's it's a sci-fi comic about a Doctor Starlight who can travel faster than
The light.
the speed of light. Something to that effect.
Okay.
I don't know. Something like that.
Yeah,
Lady
definitely,
Flash.
definitely OP.
Yeah. So I'm sorry. I thought she introduced that at the end. I was excited that there was like this potential for that to be in there too, but no, that didn't happen.
You know, why don't we jump from there to the end, actually, of this episode, where there are allusions of Kathleen I think looking for these two boys, these two young men or boys. Like one looks
Yeah.
definitely older, and they are depicted in some of the drawings in the room that they find where they were holding out
And he's
in
got the little
street.
eye
Right,
mask.
he had the little Superman, the little
Mhm.
mask drawn on.
Sam. Sam is the younger one, and
Right.
Henry is the older one.
Good, good. And it seems to me like
Oh, so that's the Henry she keeps going on and on and on about.
right,
Is this little
exactly.
kid?
Yeah. Oh,
I mean, she seems nutty, right? Like, woohoo.
but you don't really know. You don't really know. And for all we know, she has a good reason. That's the thing. Like,
Well, her brother's dead. That's her reason. But
well, that's a whole other reason, though. Maybe.
I mean, I got the feeling that she thinks that Henry is this big mastermind behind all these attacks or whatever, and it's like this little kid. So,
I
is
was
this
assuming
kid like
that it
a
was like
super genius or
I was assuming it was like a grown person who was
Right.
caring for a child.
I was thinking the same thing. Yeah. And well, it's clearly there's an element of what we often refer to as kids in the apocalypse. What are you gonna do?
Cue Kids in America right here. Just play that tune, you know.
Well, I was thinking like more Get in the House, Carl, Sam. Well, then the opposite of it was like Sam Anderson, and you get the other side, his brother Ron Anderson. They're all over the place? Kids in the apocalypse, especially kids born after the apocalypse, except for Judith, obviously, because we're stupid and she's great. But I'm eager to see what this is all about. They're like playing pretend, and they have guns, and they're telling Ellie and Joel to shush, and it's a nice little interesting setup for this two-parter episode.
Shushy, shushy.
little whisperers,
Well, they are wearing eye mask
little
makeup.
baby alpha?
It's like the Whispers except with superheroes. Ooh, I don't like that at all. Well, anyway, there is a general sense of creepiness throughout all different sides of this faction, except for like the Doctor, who only seems like the normal one, and yet he was a part of or involved in Fedra. It seems like, if I'm not mistaken, like It's funny because we've painted Fedra, especially me last week, as sort of this like insidious governmental bullshit pandemic organization that skirts the freedoms of others. They were set out through the federal government. And then this guy seems like the only normal person that we as the audience
in
meet.
this episode.
Right. Exactly.
I guess based on Kathleen's allegations, he was selling out his neighbors. So it was a real like Nazi Germany parallel there.
Yeah. And if assuming that's even true, right?
I mean, she could be totally crazy. There could be some sort of exposure to mercury or something
Or she
happening.
could
I
just
don't
be
know.
crazy because she's been living in the apocalypse for 20 years and
That's
she's
kind of
lost
the
her fucking
vibe I was
mind.
getting to.
It's like a Mad Max type situation. Oh, in
That's
their
exactly
vehicles.
Yeah.
right. Because Walking Dead Eternal just said Kathleen's group reminded them of the CRM minus the helicopters, but I was thinking they were like more like a Mad Max version of CRM because they weren't shiny and new and all matching uniforms. They all had cobbled together stuff. Like they had a truck that it looked like it had panels welded on it and stuff painted on it, and
Yeah, that's like
nobody had matching uniforms. They all had like mismatching face masks and helmets and.
Yeah.
It reminds me of that movie. What was it called? Was it Doomsday? This is really gonna bother me. I'm so sorry. Keep
That's okay.
talking.
Well, let's go to the comments. Like Walking Dead Eternal says that this episode's like the father-daughter dynamic that Joel and Ellie have. Lois Martins laughs because, we're funny. Yeah, she says she got jokes. She reminds me of, I can't think of her name on Fear, Charlie. Oh, okay. Takira says Charlie. Interesting. Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah. I can dig it. Obviously, like, next level. Walking Dead
It
Eternal.
was Doomsday.
Okay. Well, what is Doomsday again? Sorry, just let's backtrack.
Doomsday. Well, I had to look it up because I couldn't remember, but it's a 2008 film directed by Neil Marshall.
Okay.
It starred Rona Mitra and Malcolm McDowell, which Malcolm McDowell, I mean, great
Okay.
stuff, right? It's like there's an infection that happens, and then an entire portion of the city is quarantined, and they're told that everyone there is dead, but it's not true. They have like their own weird Mad Max civilization that they've created.
They've run amok.
Yeah, it's kind of like Lord of the Flies meets Mad Max.
I'm Malcolm McDowell.
It's
my impression of the day. Thanks. Thank you.
He's trying to get water out of people. No, that's a different movie.
Whoa. He's been in a lot of just B sci-fi shit too. Just
weird post-apocalyptic stuff.
Just like going from like Clockwork Orange to today. The guy worked.
No, I did not mean Doom with the Rock in it.
This is Walking Dead Eternal.
Thank you. Thank you.
Which is also based on a video game, which scared the pants out of me. And like you youngsters, you grew up all the 3D rendering and OpenGL and DirectX and all those fancy graphics. Well, you must look on Doom as if it's like, what? This is not scary at all. Meanwhile, 1994 version of Dave was playing Doom,
Jenny.
and it was just absolutely
Sorry,
crazy.
I was reading the comments, and Jenny just came out of my face.
It's like I'm not even here. What?
I'm sorry.
I'm gonna go play Doom now. Thank you very much. Let me share my screen as I play Doom on the internet, the World Wide Web.
I hope you're streaming on Twitch. Dave.
I am just streaming on Twitch. This way, I'll pass the copyright for the music. Anyway, let's go to some comments to recover from this disaster. Anyway, so you get a little punchy about this time of the night. See, Lois says, I'm talking about the women we just seen on the show. Walking Dead Eternal says, don't you mean that movie Doom with Rocket in? Lois says, she shot Morgan. Oh, Jenny. Yeah, Takir says, oh, Jenny.
See, Jenny just came out of my mouth. I'm sorry.
Whoa, this isn't the boys.
That would be Ashley, anyway.
Yeah, well, yeah. But when you saw Ashley, you thought, oh, it's Ginny. And then
Actually, my first thought was Colby.
Oh, well, yeah. Good point. Let's keep moving. Okay, so I don't know. The impression I get of these people is that, like you said, Sharon, I don't know if they're good or they're bad. It just seems to me like no matter what we think of them for now, it seems like Joel, just judging from the last few episodes, no longer wants to be a part of, was formerly part of the Fireflies. X did not like Fedra from the jump, obviously. doesn't really want to side himself with anybody, right? No connections to people, which, Tess is
Wait, are
the...
you saying Joel?
Yeah, Joel. Did I say Joel?
He wasn't with the Fireflies.
It seems like he was with the Fireflies in as much as he was trying to keep his brother alive, quote unquote, to get to Boston QZ, let's say. Or I don't know, maybe afterwards, but for a little while. Until he met Tess, and that made it so that he would just forget everybody. Who cares? I don't know. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. If you guys think otherwise, chime in.
I didn't feel like he. I don't feel like he joined the Fireflies. I think he was more like Tommy joined the Fireflies, and but even he got disillusioned with that. But remember in the episode 1 when they get in the truck and they leave to go to work, and there's a Desert Storm bumper sticker.
Oh, I didn't see
think
that.
we all kind of assumed. Well, I guess if you didn't see, I assumed it was Joel's truck.
Me
But
too.
now that he says that Tommy was in Operation Desert Storm
And not Joel. Okay.
and not Joel, I'm guessing it must have been him. But anyway, I know that's not really important, but
No, it is.
I
definitely.
assumed that Joel was the Operation Desert Storm veteran, not Tommy.
I did too, but yeah, he did make it seem like it was only Tommy that joined up.
Yeah. Well, clarified that. Yeah, that it was Tommy this whole time. Tommy's a joiner. Apparently, that's his thing. He wants to save the world, like most of us feel like when we watch these shows. We are, but it turns out we're like a Bill.
Yeah.
We're a Bill.
We're
We're
a
just
real Bill
we're mostly
instead.
Bills, and maybe all these. You know what? This town is basically a bunch of slightly less Billy Bills, right? Imagine if a whole bunch of Bills joined together and formed a town. That's how these people are acting.
That's a trick question because Bills would
Bills-
never join together.
Exactly. I was gonna say Bills would never join together. It would have to be a town of Bills and Franks.
There's a joke there somewhere. Anyway,
Bills
No.
and Franks.
No.
I love how Walking Dead Eternal says,
What?
but wasn't Doom a
MMO?
movie back in 2003 or something? I'm gonna say yes. I'm gonna say so. Like
Okay.
The
is
Rock.
Walking Dead Eternal like messing with us?
It's fine if he is or she is
I
or they.
I can't.
Takira says
I can't.
Melanie Linsky is getting cast as a psychopath more and more often. Her first big role was as a total psychopath because she was Rose on 2.5
Yep.
Men, and she was a complete and utter nut job on that show,
She was. It was awesome.
including shoving Charlie in front of a fucking speeding train, which is why when Charlie Sheen left the show.
I love
Wow.
it because she's got that voice. So it's like it's just
Very
so good.
unassuming.
Yeah.
It lends
Yeah.
some comedic timing.
Yellow
She,
Jackets, Fireflies.
was
I mean, whatever. It's
on,
all
Mhm.
insects.
She was on Castle Rock. She wasn't necessarily crazy on there.
Oh, she was like the what was her name? On
I don't remember now.
it's after the movie. But I forget her name. Anyway, that's fine because I have to admit something that I haven't really said out loud on this show ever, and it's that I have this really weird attraction to her. It's very strange. She was on
She's a good-looking lady.
Yeah, she was on but she's not. This is exactly how my wife described her attraction to her. Like, oh, he's kind of good looking. Pedro Pascal. It's like unassumingly attractive. You're like, you have to take a second look to be like, oh, yeah. Melanie's the same way, but for me. And guys, whatever, everything that moves. But like her, it's like, you kind of have to, you do that second look and you're like, oh, yeah. Yeah. It's also like the roles that she takes. She's really, really, she as an actor takes on these really, really smart, unassuming roles too. Case in point, this one too. And also like, yeah, you mentioned Yellow Jackets. It's the same. It's the same way. She was in a, was it the brothers, Peter and Joel? What is it? What are they called? Fuck, they have a French last name. Not Duff or Dummy.
The
Fuck.
Coen brothers?
No, not the Coen brothers. Fucking
So a writing team that is brothers.
damn it.
Kaufman.
Is it the
Charlie
guys who
Kaufman?
did Amelie?
No, their last name starts with a D, and I can't remember what it is. Do you remember the dude? One of the dudes from not the game, the it was like a
This is like
fantasy football
trivia.
club. It's a comedy show, and I forget what it's called.
The League.
Yeah, The League. That's right. Okay, one of the guys on the show, his name is Peter something or other, and he and his brother are actually a producer team. And I can't just.
The dude from Creep, the movie Creep.
Oh, you've completely lost me, and I feel like we're dead airing right now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, it's it's just like interesting trivia. So like, who can name this guy?
6 degrees of Melanie Linsky.
Which, by the way, if you haven't watched the Creep movies, like, please do, because they are incredible. They're great horror movies, for sure. Anyway, I'm not gonna waste any more
I
time on
loved
this,
the
but-
shots and the scenery when they were driving in this episode. However, I would have been super duper duper leery about driving over a big ass bridge after 20 years of no maintenance. Like that made me think of
That's a
it
good
made me
point.
think of World Beyond when they had to cross the river and all the bridges were falling in, blown up.
Right, St. Louis, right
yeah.
near St. Louis, about Madman across the
Yeah,
water. I always
Madman
forget.
across the water. Yep.
By the way, it's the Duplass brothers. Yeah, Mark and Jay Duplass. I think he plays Peter on the show, or Pete on the show. That's right.
Yeah,
in the
he's
League.
he's in the movie Creep.
So
And Creep 2 and Creep 3.
Okay, I did not know that. And I wanted to plug this show. Melanie Linsky. So there's a really cool show called Togetherness with Mark Duplass and Melanie Linsky and Steve Zissis, which like my friend and Josh would go back and forth, like trying to say, no, you're a Steve Zissis. No, I'm a Steve Zissis. Funny, kind of awkwardy looking guy. Great show. It's on, I think it was on HBO. Yeah, that's right. Also on HBO. So if you're watching The Last of Us, you might take a detour at some point and watch this short-lived, I think 2-season comedy television show. Really, really great. And she is amazing in that show. She kind of starts off like a little slow, and then all of a sudden she kind of owns her character, like just before you cross into season 2. I'm sorry to detour. This is how much I really like this character and this actor, and why I'm so attracted to her. So let's move on, everybody. I hope she becomes really, really interesting on the show, because right now I really don't know what to think of her, as opposed to the last episode where I really leaned into my paranoid, not schizophrenia, regarding Bill and his conspiracy theories. So I'm kind of on the fence about how I feel about her character, Kathleen. So, but what do you guys think? Just carte blanche. Like, what do you think about her character? Where do you think she lies on the spectrum of good guy versus bad guy or whatnot?
Oh, she's crazy down.
I think she's a little Looney Tunes.
But what if it turns out that she's kind of right, and these kids are kind of cuckoo bananas, dangerous, in superhero grease paint in their faces and
Well, then
cartoons.
this show was going in a very strange direction.
Which maybe it is. I don't know. We'll have to wait and see.
You never know, guys. You never know. I mean, look,
The song at the end that they played at the end of the episode is called "True Faith" by New Order. It was released in 1987. It's an 80s song.
Trouble.
Because there's trouble.
But the B-side of this album is called 1963.
Not bad. Man, you looked that
When
shit
was
up real
that-
quick.
Wait. When was that Hank Williams song released?
And is that where we get the title
Hank-
track for this episode? Where does "Please
So-
Hold On to My Hand" come from? Which I spelled wrong, actually, in the title.
I
Fix
don't
that.
think that was in the song lyrics.
I don't know. I didn't. It's "I'll Never Get Out of This World." Alive, I think.
The Hank Williams song? Well, that's not the point of this episode anyway. We're here to react to things.
Yeah, "I'll Never Get Out of This World Alive."
Is the Hank Williams song?
We're doing too deep of a dive.
Yeah.
This is for the next episode.
Yeah. So let's read some comments in the
I'm
meantime.
getting off on tangents.
Watched Doom like 5 times. Takira says, Walking Dead Eternal was asking because I haven't seen it. Good. You're probably better off. Takira says,
Dude,
I've
it's
heard
like, you're not
every time
missing
people try to
anything.
make a Doom feature film, and some have been made. There was one Netflix release of that when it came out, like maybe a couple of years after the game came out with their like Doom 3D, I think it was. They came
Yeah,
out with
there
another
was.
Doom remake. Anyway, so I heard it was also
Don't
garbage.
do it. Just don't do it. Just leave it alone.
Takira says, I feel like I saw her always a bit off kilter, but yeah, she's full blown crazy. Walking Dead Eternal says, I know I'm late on the movies. Well, it's okay. We've lived longer. That's the only edge we
I just
have.
thought you were messing with me.
You're
I'm sorry. I
clearly
just thought you were messing.
okay. You're fine. We'll teach you things. It's like old people do. Anyway, Takira says, no way I'm driving over that bridge. Good. Because we want you and at Richie and all those people, your family safe, the ones you care about. No way. Walking Dead Eternal says, the joke Ellie told Joel at the end made Joel laugh was funny. It wasn't, but it's just like dumb jokes sometimes. They just like invade. They infect you like these cordyceps. It's just sometimes they just burrow their way into your lungs and you just and then all of a sudden you can't stop laughing. And also
The
spores.
delivery was pretty good.
Yeah.
I have to ask you a question.
But
The serious question thing.
you know what it is?
Got
It's sometimes it's not the delivery, but like how if somebody reacts to it in just an off way or it catches you, then the other person starts laughing, and then you start laughing at your own joke, obviously, like I do all the time, and then that magic happens, right? You ever barf a laugh up? You're just like, and then like all of a sudden the other guy goes, what was that? And then you all start laughing at what the hell was what's that? Anyway.
He tried it. He tried it just then, you guys. It didn't work.
Oh man, Hillary Burton Smith is on that show. Yeah, well, yeah, there you go. Yeah, I forgot that she is in that show. Anyway, you mean Hillary Burton before she was Hillary Burton Morgan, right? I think that's what you meant, like not Negan Smith. Yeah, anyway, Takira says,
Hillary Burton.
I don't blame you for
Yeah,
that.
I love that. I love that.
Yeah,
That's good.
anyway,
No,
so-
it was so believable. I didn't even notice.
I'm like my head is like that's wrong, but why is it wrong? And like,
That's her
oh,
name now.
Megan Smith. Yeah. Hillary Burton Smith. Everybody. Welcome to prime time. Bitch.
Yeah. Yeah, a Freddy reference.
Should I have gone welcome to prime time, bitch? Okay, anyway. All right, so let's see what else we can dig up about this episode before we call it an evening. And you guys let us know what else you liked about this episode and tell us how you feel about it. Because, well, Bridget, how did you feel about this episode overall? Like,
It was all right. It
decent?
was all right. Yeah, I was happy that there was movement. That was good. I was a little curious what they were going to do with it because this portion of the game is not. It's anxiety ridden, but it's not thrilling in any way. So it makes sense that they created a character that would kind of rile things up. Can I just say I'm so angry about the truck?
Elaborate. The truck blocking the
You have it
underpass?
for like 2 seconds.
Oh, the S10. Okay. The
And
pickup.
Then it's gone. And then all of the goods you got from Bill are gone. And I'm just that aggravates me on such a level. I'm so angry.
Maybe that's an allegory because I had this feeling coming out of the last episode, which was just really wholesome, that this was the port in the storm of like things that are just gonna go wrong from here on in, and for a while. So
Which makes sense, right?
which is why I wasn't so terribly upset. Also, we've gone through
like-
The Walking Dead and beyond, so like my
Okay,
brain
but-
is conditioned to bad shit happening.
But you were at Bill's, and I know that he would have had bug out bags. And you don't have a bug out bag, dude? Ellie's got her one sack of random crap that she's thrown together. Like, come on.
Oh, you're saying
Bill would
wait,
be so disappointed in you.
well, Bill never had a kid, so
Where's your bug out bag, dude? Joel didn't have a bag? What's wrong with you guys?
maybe over the years he just stopped being a prepper-ish person. It's like, what's
You
the
had
point?
the opportunity.
This is
Like,
what's the point?
Bill had everything.
I had a really weird thought talking about Bill for a second. It creeped up on me like a couple days before the weekend, and I thought, well, what if Bill didn't die? What if he said that to Frank to kind of ease his mind, right? And I thought to myself, like, oh, maybe be sort of like the games-ish, because maybe he's still out there somewhere, and
I
he'll
would
show
love if
up
Bill
later
just
on.
shows up later. That would be awesome.
There was
It
one
would really be sad to their love story, though. But
yeah,
it would be
well,
cool in terms of the TV show.
I don't think it would take away from the love story, but a thought like jumped into my brain about like how maybe he said that to Frank to maybe ease his mind. Like, how sometimes people say, "I want you to go on without me," and then when it's almost more comforting to know that, oh, he's gonna die in my arms. Well, at least I won't worry about who's going to take care of him. And so
So then we know if we get to a point in the show where it looks like both Ellie and Joel are gonna die,
will go
that Bill will just show up out of nowhere
right.
and save the day.
Because there was a feeling that I got in my mind that that wouldn't it be something if Bill said, there's still people out there that I kind of care about, and that maybe my job here on this earth is not done. And so it's just this sneaking weird feeling. It's similar to the feeling I have about Ellie's powers, right? Just like, or quote unquote powers for the audio podcast. And I don't know, maybe it's just something to just take the pulse on every now and again. See if he's still out there.
You're such a conspiracy theorist.
I have to tell you guys sometimes when I think of something, because if it does show up, then you're like, that's interesting. Conspiracy theory, Dave. Charity's shaking her head.
Never mind.
What
It
do we get
reminds me of
into?
It reminds me of another conspiracy theory that we heard endlessly in The Walking Dead. I'm just gonna leave that.
Where's
there, and
Heath?
we're just gonna. Well, no.
Okay, sorry.
Now that would be something. What if he
showed
shows
up.
up later on in the show?
But what if it was the actor, and we all go, oh, it's Heath. It's like, no, he's a different character on the show, but we've been waiting for him for so long. But what if his name on the show was Heath, and then you're really confused? You're like,
This
so
podcast just
meta.
evolved into just what if this happened? It's like when a little kid tells you stuff like what if this happened?
Hey, guys.
remember that time? Remember that time Dave thought Ellie had magic powers?
And then you say, yeah.
Yeah,
That's it.
That was cool.
It was
That
cool. Yeah. Okay. Takir says, I feel this episode was to bring Joel and Ellie closer, to really be a reminder that Joel that she needs him. I felt that too. I felt that sort of happening. I feel it ebbing and flowing. And I feel like he, she's less than cargo, as he says in this episode. She's more than cargo, sorry. And at least cares about her because she's a kid. She's a living being. I'll read it. Don't worry. Lois goes, how do you go into the city and not know people are going to be there? I thought it was dumb. I was thinking the same thing. What are you guys laughing at anyway?
Well, I'm laughing because Walking Dead Eternal says, I'm liking how the show is going. Are you talking about this show or The Last of Us show? Because if it's this show, I'm not sure what you're doing.
Disagree. Cancel. This is top-notch shit you're subscribing to, folks. Anyways, I mean, I'm yelling at you guys, the hosts, not the audience is on point.
I'm sorry.
Lois brings up a very interesting question.
Fair point.
I was the same way. I was like, okay, so you're gonna go into the city where all the action is, where all the people might be. And then they passed by the Boston QZ, like, why are the doors open? And didn't turn right the fuck around. Like, guess we're going on foot because I'm not going through this city. Let's just back this shit up. I don't know.
That guy does come out like holding his stomach, like help, and
Guys.
yeah.
You know, remember in Fear when Fear 4 season 4? That's how Alicia. That's how they stopped Al and John and Morgan in Swatty.
It was
Because Alicia came
Leland.
stumbling out into the road. Oh, and then they came up to see what was wrong. She's like, bang!
Oh, sorry. At the end of
Nobody ever
that pilot of the
Nobody learns.
season 4
Four.
premiere.
Yeah, no one
Yeah.
ever learns. In the apocalypse, never
Help me.
stop for someone.
But like it's John and Morgan, okay? They're gonna stop because we'll just redirect. Anyway, let's keep
I don't kill people. Neither do
Life is-
I.
Life is precious.
Yeah. Was it what did we call him? The gunslinger and the karate man, right?
Karate Man.
Anyway.
When Joel realized Ellie had the gun, I didn't. I mean, I was like, is he gonna let her keep it or is he gonna take it? And then we just watched Game of Thrones last night, and I had this feeling like when the Arya and the Hound were together, and the Hound was teaching Arya how to kill people. And I feel like that's what Joel was doing with Ellie. Like, make sure you keep your finger, But it was like, it was funny.
Yeah. No, I felt
my new
that.
road trip favorites.
Well, I like how he grabbed the gun too to make sure, like, oh, this is why you do
Yeah.
this. It's stable
Yeah.
this way. But I do like the tug of war that he's having right now about not only keeping her safe, but keeping her whole as a child. Like it's like his life was so on pause, and he must have seen other kids in the apocalypse that aren't like her. But maybe it's too reminding him of his daughter, and they are getting close, and he doesn't like it. And there's
Well, and
this,
she's kind of goofy and she makes like inappropriate jokes, and I think there's just like there's enough similarity there for him to see her as kind of like Sarah.
Mhm. Yeah, I'm thinking that too. But I do like the tug of war. I do like the
Will
idea of
she
him.
just listen to him? She agreed. She agreed to the rules, and one of them is we do this my way, and you like don't question it. And she's constantly like, yes, and then immediately doesn't do what he asked her to.
Yeah,
Fine.
she asks him about his past.
He's alive because of the gun, but he's like, "You're gonna shoot your ass off," and she puts it in her pocket. I was like, "What's wrong with you? Why are you doing this?"
When my wife was watching some of the show with me, and I was like, was doing the same thing you were. I was kind of like picking at my fingers, just in to the frickin' skin, and she's like, "What are you doing?" And I'm like, she is funny. Okay, I'll give you that. But she's being so dangerous. She's like, "Why?" I'm like, "Honey, listen. Okay, listen. People get killed for less on these shows, and she's a kid." She's like, "Yeah, you're right. She should be a kid." I'm like, "Honey, no, she shouldn't be a kid. It's not what you do in these shows. Don't do it. You need to not be a kid, but also be a kid." And then she kind of got it for some reason. I'm like, "Okay, I'm a little pressed that you understood what I said."
Well, I mean, Carl got it. He fucked up. He learned from that mistake, and he never did that fucking mistake again. So he was a kid, but he was also a kid that mostly did smart stuff, not all the time.
Right.
Mostly.
He didn't get in the house, but that was probably the best decision for that day.
He's in the house. He's right.
First of all,
He's right there.
Walking Dead Eternal, I expected that answer. The Last of Us is what I'm talking about with the show. He likes how the show's going. Just can't win them all, I guess. Takira says, Sharondy, I am... What was it in reference to? I am laughing.
Probably me
Oh,
asking
Takira
which
says
show
she
he likes.
enjoys this show.
Irrelevant. Walking Dead, I refuse to... That Alicia is dead. Walking Dead Eternal says. I guess it all depends on what people decide to do.
We're not talking about that anymore. We're
Yeah.
not talking about it
They're prepping her for a spinoff. Takira says... I don't think she is either. Okay, well, Walking Dead turns is because if she's dead, then they character destroyed her. Yeah, I don't think she is personally. That's just my personal take. At
Well,
first,
my personal opinion too. There was a heated argument about it at the time, and I just want to move on
Yeah.
from this topic.
Lois says, speaking of moving on, he tried to keep his daughter safe, and I think he thinks that when tried to keep her, yeah. So I think there's a little bit of transference too. Like she sees the Sarah that could have been, and in Ellie maybe, and there's a little. That's why I said there's a little bit of a tug of war, confusion, because like when he sees Ellie, possibly already, he's thinking of what would I do with Sarah, and he's starting to realize that. Yeah, this girl's been in the apocalypse. She knows, sort of knows what goes on, and she needs to know how to survive. And Sarah, when she saw how Joel didn't stop to help those people, she was mortified, and she didn't get it. And when Joel does what he has to do with that kid, which that's another thing that we should probably talk about. The kid who was already shot, who's kind of crying mommy. Brian is his name, right? So she does what he says. She goes into the hole. Get in your hole. Okay, just bringing that up from the season 7 finale of Fear the Walking Dead. We were talking about a lot of Fear the Walking Dead references today. And she does what he says. She allows Joel to do what he has to do with Brian. And he sort of questions it, but not really. But in a way that says, have you killed innocent people? This is afterwards actually too. So what do you guys think of that moment? Because there's obviously the human day-to-day part of me that was going, well, he's no longer a threat, blah, blah, blah. But I guess since he's alive, he might tell somebody and they might get their older brother to beat him up. And do you know what I mean? So but there was still that part of me that was screaming like,
There's no winning at that point, though. Like
Yeah.
he's lying to save his life when he says, "We can trade with you." That's not what's gonna happen. And you're naive if you think that's what's gonna happen. And I hate to say that because I want for people to be good, but they're not.
Well, but the thing is, it's not like they just unprovoked killed that guy. He was trying to kill them, and they started it when they threw a brick through the fucking windshield of the truck.
Yeah, they majorly fucked up.
It wasn't like they were defending themselves in every sense.
But I did try to look at it from the other side, right? They're busting into this town. We don't know who they are, and they might be coming to get us, which it seems like that is sort of what's happening. Henry and what was the other guy, the other kid? Sam radioed for backup or something, and this was the guy.
I was like, what?
Right? This is the guy. So this is why
That's
I'm
why
like,
I was like, Kathleen is nuts. Like,
but also I'm sort of wondering if that's true, sort of, right? Because what if it ends up being that these kids are like, whoa, major cuckoo bananas, but they have their shit together?
I mean, I'd love that for them, but
That for them. Oh, I love that for you. That's like how that
I don't
sounds.
think that's what's happening.
You reminded me of Randall
from the Walking Dead,
Walking Dead.
season 1,
Yeah.
2, 3.
Yes.
which
Yeah. Yeah, it did remind me a lot of Randall.
Which is an
Did I
unavoidable.
just admit that Shane is right? Ugh.
In
Ew, I feel
in hindsight,
The thing is, Shane was right a lot of the time, just not always.
he's right all the time. Sometimes.
Get your Glenn eyebrows out.
You mean my Dale eyebrows?
I can't do
Dale
it.
face.
It's like it's
Dale
too,
face
like,
event.
Dale
You said
your
Glenn.
Dale face, sorry. I said Glenn. I don't know why. I gotta like it's like that. Like I can't,
Yeah,
I
for the
can't
audio
do it.
podcast, it's
I
worthless.
can't do it
Worthless.
naturally.
Worthless. Takira says
Alright.
Brian was an idiot. Yeah. Well, I mean, but like at the same time a kid, so is that what they're playing with? Like he's still a kid, right? And he's calling for mommy. It's
Well,
rough.
He didn't seem like a kid until he was shot in the back by Ellie. So that was meant to make you feel some type of way in that moment.
Or
about it.
confusing. Yeah. Emotionally confused. Takira says I wanted him to just shut his face. He was literally trying to kill Joel seconds before that. Yeah, and again, felt that too. But I did feel like it's an apocalypse. If he's paralyzed, put him out of his misery. I don't even know if he's paralyzed. Probably doesn't even matter, right? Lois Martin says...
Well, she shot him in the back, and he said he couldn't move his legs. So it seemed like he was down.
Also, Joel did him a favor, I guess, in the apocalypse. Lois says she reminds me of Ginny. Wait, who were we?
Kathleen.
Where's it? Kathleen?
Kathleen.
Yeah, I can see that. Yeah.
Except Ginny wasn't butt-ass crazy. Like, she actually had...
Scruples.
Reasoning behind her madness. Like, she wasn't just crazy. But then again, maybe the show is making us think that she's crazy just to turn around and say that she's not.
That's kind of where I'm
shows
coming
like this
from.
tend to do that.
Because we don't have the whole story, right? We're just getting these bits and bobs, and our experience is filling in the blanks, not only within life but in shows. We're just all over the place.
Maybe Henry is like the Dread Pirate Roberts. Like, they
if-
replace him every few years with another one, and that's why he's a little kid.
See, that makes what Bridget just said earlier. I like that for him. Oh, I would love that for him. Oh, that makes that more apt. I would love that for him if he was the Dread Pirate. I am the Dread Pirate Roberts. Anyway, so
Why is he Andre the Giant?
because that's
in this.
It's my favorite.
Want a peanut?
Anybody want a peanut? Anyway, so
You sound like Arnold Schwarzenegger.
they're from Austria, right? They're both from Austria. Anyway, Lois says she reminds me of Ginny. Walking Dead Eternal says, who's Riley? Because I think they said something about that character on the show, right? On this show, on this episode.
We were talking about Walking Dead season 2.
Oh, Randall. Yeah.
Randall.
She was comparing. You were comparing the kids to Randall. I forget.
Brian.
Brian to Randall. Right.
Brian is similar to Randall. Randall is the guy who falls on the fence post in the town when in the episode in which Herschel is drinking.
And they have to jerk his leg up off of it.
Yep. And then they hide him in one of the barns, and it's a whole thing.
Tears and tears over here because we're all live and we're all this late and tired, and so obviously shit's happening right now, and we're just trying to keep it light and reactive.
Dumber After Dark.
Yeah, 100%. Where's Rachel? The dumber duo.
It's got to be a theme song.
I sort of did. Anyway, let's keep going. Okay. I don't know if there's any much more to tell. I before I even got on, I was like thinking to myself, what is there to really talk about in terms of reactions? And I'm glad.
Have been really like straightforward, right? There's like,
except for 3. 3 was pretty meaty. I liked it.
3, yeah. Well, 3 had a lot of emotional and character development, but everything's been pretty like straightforward, right? There's not. I mean, there'll be more to go through later.
Yeah.
When we talk about like
specifics,
the music and the specifics and what the cast and producers have said about this episode and all of that kind of stuff. But
lucky
for
us.
the most part, it's like it is what happened. Like it was a really straightforward episode.
Yeah. As I was getting the water just before we got on, I was thinking like, oh, it's like literally the quiet ones you have to watch. These episodes, when they are quiet and steady and less dialogue in some places, and there's like nuance in terms of what's happening. There's something about it feels like there's a lot more to talk about when less happens. In this episode, a lot happens. And so, and like you said, it's pretty straightforward. We're going in one direction.
Well, I think this next episode is going to be the second part straight up of this storyline.
Yeah. I like that they held it back.
Wrap it up, and then I think we'll move on. But
and move them out. Sorry,
yeah,
I had to finish that.
How many episodes are in the season?
You had said early in the first episode or the first reaction that there were 9. I just looked up on IMDb and there are 10.
I thought it was 9 for some reason.
You were right, I think, but IMDb, I think they just changed it when I checked last. What the title and the runtime were, it's now 10 episodes.
Interesting.
But then again, they haven't really released all the. Unlike The Walking Dead and Fear the Walking Dead, where they release almost all the titles for the episodes, they haven't even had
and the trailers for the episodes.
And the trailers for all the episodes.
And the spoilers for.
So if you want a good recap for the next season, just tune into IMDb. They'll have all the teasers for all the episodes.
So you can go to AMC if you want all the spoilers.
Yeah, exactly. Just follow their Twitter account. AMC Fear TWD on Twitter. The Walking Dead _AMC on Twitter. And then they'll take them down and be like, oh, I think we messed up. Nah, just kidding. They'll leave them up.
So I do want to make one more quick little comparison to the Walking Dead universe.
Absolutely.
So Joel, just tell us earlier, you haven't seen the world, you know, and in the world beyond, one of the big themes was these kids have never experienced a world that wasn't a zombie world, right? You know what I mean? And like when they're in the high school and they're dancing and imagining the dance and all that.
Oh,
and
in
I got
wrong end of a telescope, season
Wrong End of
1.
the Telescope. And I kind of got that vibe here when they're driving and Ellie's looking at all the remnants of our world, you know, the empty floating docks and the fallen train trestles and everything overgrown and ruined. And that was something I thought about, you know, like she's never experienced any world other than the QZ.
Right.
Did she see the plane in the last episode?
Yes, that's right.
Yeah.
She saw the plane. I thought that was so like jarring to hear, because we complain about stuff like that all the time, like the whole like riding in a plane and how it's cramped and it's not nice and it's expensive and it's uncomfortable and the air is recirculated, it's gross and like right, we don't like it.
Right.
And for her to be like, you were in the sky.
That's straight out of a Louis C.K. bit too, which we've said on this podcast before.
Like,
well, I mean, how many times do you get in your car and go, "Oh, it's like a spaceship. Oh, it's my fucking car. I do this shit every day." But you know, it's seeing the world through new eyes, and that's what Joel's. He's seeing the world differently than the old hateful, destructive world. He's seeing it differently now.
Right.
It's a really cool reminder of like what we have.
I've been trying to say that. No, I mean, on a serious note, like that's one of the biggest takeaways I get from these shows is how lucky we are, how blessed. Like even when things are shitty, really shitty, seemingly, right? Well, we have our health in a time where most people have good health. Like they live longer. Child mortality is dropping, fine, but there's never been a better time to have a child than now. Well, let's say the past few centuries, or the past century. Let's just go with that. So, I mean, you don't have to sacrifice your kids in winter to be your workers on the farm, and like half of you don't make it. You know, and you have kids to work the farm. So it's never been a better time to be alive. And yet we're, like you said in the last episode, Bridget, how the malaise, right? Oh, my shitty life with my dumb emails and my things.
We humans are never happy with our lot.
It's that double-edged sword, though, right? There's, on the one hand, we're never happy because of the other edge of the sword, which is there's a part of us that's always, in some meager way, trying to do better or do more or want more out of life. And so sometimes in order to go in that direction, we kind of look down on the more malaise, shitty, boring things in our lives because we want that better thing. Whether or not we have the drive and the gumption to get that thing is a whole other story, but there's that part of us is like, my shitty email, my dumb airplane, and I'm in the middle seat getting a $12 sandwich. It's just, we just take these things for granted. You're sitting in a chair in the sky, Louis C.K. I'm gonna credit him because it was the fucking funniest thing in the world. And your Wi-Fi is out. Look outside. You're in the clouds. Trying to channel the voice too. I just saw his comedy special last night. Fucking great. It's great to see him on stage again. Anyway, Takira says I felt more bad for Randall than I did for Brian. I was very conflicted over Randall as well. Walking Dead Eternal says this episode was 45 minutes, so it makes sense. Yeah. 15-minute runtime. That's why we've gone on right at 10, or we were able to. Takira says, how many episodes will this season be? And 10 so far as we can tell. Hashtag bring Rick back home. Oh, Yeah, I hope so. That would be so great for him, wouldn't it?
I
in my-
love that for him.
I love that for him. Yes. So should we wrap this up? Oh, there was one thing that I wanted to touch on before we go. What do you think is in the ground that has been cratered in that building?
Oh, bruh, yeah. What?
I-
There's like
A giant fungi. Like it's a big giant fungi all connected under. That's what's making it move.
Say that a little louder. What?
it's a tremor. It's tremors. It's finally
It's
happening.
nothing
Tremors.
fungal related, right? Is that what you're saying? Oh, you're
just
saying it's the
tremors.
movie Tremors.
No, a tremor, Dave.
Oh. What? Didn't they have a name? They had a name. The tremor.
No, they call them
They
big
had-
worms.
They had ridiculous names for them.
Yeah.
They progressed.
It was in one of the
Past
blogs that we wrote.
bastards.
Do you think it might
Got weird over time.
do,
Anyway,
do you think we might be introing this might be an intro to what the bloaters might look like?
that was my thought.
Well, then why didn't you say? I'm kidding. I hate you.
That's why I was
Dave.
like, well, and then I
So you didn't want to be the crazy guy that said that. You wanted me to be the Bill.
It's gonna be something weird. I don't know. The thing is, I don't know what they're gonna do because I haven't played through enough of the game to know if there's other special infected.
I see.
But I assume that there are because I already fought a bloater,
Mhm.
which was a horrific giant clicker, basically, that just it blew things at you. It blew spore packs at you, which like isn't a thing in this. So
So they have to kind of
so
change
they
it
have to
up.
come up with something else, I feel like, but it's something.
I like
Something
it.
gross.
I like Walking Dead Eternal style. It's a creature from hell, from what it looked like, which brings back Doom.
It's a hellmouth.
Yeah, exactly. From
Oh,
Doom.
wow.
It's a floating head with how many eyes? I forget. And then it shoots fireballs from its big head. Oh my god, yeah, it's going to be disgusting. Right, because you have to replace spores with the like mycelial, tendrily, viney things.
It's gonna look like a big pot of bean sprout spaghetti.
Yeah, maybe. Right. There's
Like Cthulhu.
there's like a character on My Hero Academia
Sarlacc.
that Deku fights. It's like this the guy is all muscle fibers, so I'm thinking that's what it's going to look like. I'll probably post about it in the blog. But
The Sarlacc. Big
it's just a big mouth. Is that what you're saying? It's just a big
Yeah.
old tremor
It's
mouth?
like a big beehole in the ground.
Wait, what? Beehole? Qualify?
A beehole.
It's
Is
a
that like-
hole full of bees. My God, Dave.
Gotcha.
Come on.
Gotcha.
Come on.
Is this like pew
yeah.
pew? Is this like pew
gutter,
pew all
man.
over again?
Yeah.
It's a big old butthole.
Look,
thing.
sometimes I just want to censor myself a little, okay? I've got a foul mouth, and so sometimes I just like
Trying to keep it clean up.
play it cool.
I love that for you. Anyway, so I think this is gonna be the end. The end of this reaction video. And
Dave is always stealing my cool lingo, you guys.
now, I see. Whenever you say something cool, I'm like, "Yeah, let's just keep reusing this until everybody hates me for it." And so, if you like what you've heard, head over to ratethispodcast.com/squawkingdead. 5 stars and an eggplant is all we need to know that you love us. But tell us what you liked. Tell us what you didn't like. Tell us if we're just beating a dead horse in some places. But remember to tell us after every episode. And if you really like what we're doing here, head over to either ko-fi.com/squawkingdead or patreon.com/squawkingdead and just follow us. You don't have to buy us a coffee for 30 days to support our back content on Ko-fi, or you don't have to join a membership tier, which Takira did earlier on in this episode, for a chance at getting some of these cool perks in perpetuity. One of which Takira just joined was the Whispers tier, where you get some things, 50% off of the merch store, the ability to join us in our Jackbox Games live streams. And just today, we actually told Whispers that they could jump on with us to break down these episodes. With now Thomas is here right now. He's on screen right now. He's just not talking. That's
Why?
or
Here now. Well, you guys, you can finally start the show.
well, we are squawk. No, so
So, Dave, what did
We've
you
been
think about the
stalling
episode
this whole
overall?
time.
yeah, we should have stalled for Thomas to show up.
Oh, bye, Tom.
That
Oh,
sounds like
that's
that
what he
sounds
meant.
like personal information, Tom. I really didn't need to know.
Bye.
Here's some
Okay,
pearl
bye.
tampons. Anyway. But if you join the Survivors tier, you can have the ability to join us in every episode breakdown. I've been your host, David Cameo, and I was joined by Blazy Gardner. Oh, Sharon D, aka Blazy Gardner. See, without the Cosmoms 09, it doesn't
You can
work.
Call me Rachel.
Well, that's much better. And Bridget, aka Punky Brewster. ko-fi.com/Punky Brewster. That's PUNKYBRUISETER. Take care. We'll see you in the next live stream, which definitely won't be Tuesday night. Maybe Monday night, but probably
I
not.
don't know. Yeah, and now we have to do one.
On Wednesday?
Friday.
No. Well, and then we have to do another.
Friday?
Then we have to go live on Friday because that's when the next episode occurs. Thomas, just wink, wink. Wink, wink. So if you want to join us on Friday night. But yeah, well, maybe we'll try going live tomorrow night because I know you're going to be out from work, Bridget, and we'll see what happens, huh? Maybe. Okay, we'll see you tomorrow night, everybody. Take care. Well, we'll have more notes and have more things to say, and hope you, after reading all the articles and seeing the pictures and some of the interviews, that you have some more input on this episode, some specific input on how you felt about this episode. Take care. We'll see you live tomorrow night, and bye. Bye, Thomas. Bye, Lois. Bye, Tequila. Bye, Walking
Thanks
Dead
for
Eternal.
coming.
Bye, guys.
Oh, bye, Grava 4G. Sorry, bye. We're going.
Bye bye.
Bye.